Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the New River Network's coverage. This was a coverage of it's turned into more of a celebration of WVU and celebration of the Mountaineers. We've got players in here from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and they just keep rolling in. Of course, the main attraction is Frank Fear's book that he has written called The Band of Brothers, which is about the 68, 69, 70 Mountaineers, 69 Mountaineers who won the Peach Bowl, and a lot of other games during that era as well. Dave Gorvey is the furthest person to my left, of course, my co-host, and this guy sitting in the middle, anybody who's a Mountaineer fan knows who he is. Of course, this is Brian Joswiak. Brian's been on the show before, and we decided to pick the biggest person first so that we can just work our way down the list and not lose anybody. So he got chosen first. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to join us.
So I'm first?
You're first.
Hey,
and not Dale Wolfley.
Yeah. How about that? You're on the show before Dale Wolfley.
And Dale, the first
good call. It's a good call.
When we had him on, one of the complaints he had was that Brian Joswiak was before him.
Yeah.
So then we made it so that he would. He became the first two-time guest, so that appeased him a little bit. So he was a little bit okay with that.
Yeah.
But he had a problem.
But didn't Daryl have a comment on Wolfley or something like that?
Right. Daryl was on afterwards, and we had the same discussion. So basically what Daryl said was that, every great artist has to have a warm-up band. So Wolfley was the warm-up band for him. That's the way he framed it up. Yeah. So that was perfect.
I love it.
Anyway, a lot of excitement up here. The Blue Gold game was today, and we are at Kegler's, by the way. Again, anybody that knows anything about WVU, Morgantown, you know where Kegler's is, and you know what goes on here. A great place, great atmosphere. Brian, you are part of the excitement here. Talk about what it means to come back, to Morgantown during this Blue Gold game, or any time really, but this gathering that we're seeing take place.
This is the first spring game that I've been to in quite a long time, because I was a teacher and a coach down in Florida myself, and I could never get away. To get up here for this and to be here, the launch of the book Band of Brothers, you couldn't have a better title.
Right.
And even though it's about these guys that are in here right now sitting at that table, you can see the camaraderie and the bond. It blankets all of us. We're all part of the brotherhood, and to be a block in that building, and to know that these guys and the ones that have played after, right down to the ones that are on the field this afternoon, we all got something really special, and that is the fact that.
That's right.
Yep.
Yes,
sir. Yep.
Don't make me cry, Jim. Don't make me cry, because I get emotional about it. I mean, I love it. Well, and I love this.
Yeah. And you talking about this makes me think about, we've met a lot of these guys. We've talked to a lot of them. We've, about this band that they have. But we've talked to a ton of former Mountaineers, yourself included. And one thing that Dave and I have both noticed is that everybody we've talked to, it's kind of the same theme. It's like, I loved my teammates. I love WVU. I love playing ball there. And we've gotten the same thing no matter what the era is, And I think this is fantastic when you see this kind of thing and see the different generations of players that are coming through and how they're all – it's that connection. There's still that connection. I think that's one thing that makes this place unique, and I think it's one of the reasons why – it's been so successful for 100 years, is that there is just a unique feeling about being part of the Mountaineers, and you guys all exemplify that.
It's these guys in the era that we're in right now. I know Neil Brown basically begins right from day one teaching them about the history, not only of the history of the football program, but the history of the state.
Right.
You got to understand what West Virginia is, because we're a unique gem in this country.
Yep.
All right, and Mountaineer football is like the biggest thing in the state.
Yeah.
Period. We don't have a pro team. We don't have obviously, like I said, if you're down in Huntington, you might have to wear a little green, but up here, we're doing the blue and the gold.
That's right.
And it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful thing.
Yep.
And it's important because it is a brotherhood. It is a brotherhood.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's a challenge in the landscape today because you got guys coming and going and transferring, coming in.
Right.
But so long as you're here, you got to understand why you're here. Make sure it's for the right reasons, because the Mountaineer people, the fans, it matters. It matters to all of us. It matters to us, the old guys.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
and we're looking at it and saying, hey, man, we want a competitive daggone football team at a high level.
That's right.
That's all we ask. I got lucky. I got to play in the 80s.
Right.
I wouldn't trade that experience for nothing. I had the same coach the whole time. I had the same offensive line coach the whole time. So the continuity of that locker room, it was basically these guys passing the torch to the next group, to the next group, to the next group.
Right.
And the demand was exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, and you had the same teammates too. You guys, you started off playing. You stayed there together for those 4 years, 5 years.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Jim.
No.
Daryl Talley's the one that took me under the wing when I got here as a freshman.
Right.
So right away, you know, and those guys are the ones that had the biggest challenge because you got a new coach.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And they were sold, especially Daryl Talley. Daryl was sold by Coach Nealon on the fact that if you stick it and stay and do, and it's going to be special.
Yeah.
And boy, he was right.
No doubt about that.
Boy, he was right.
Yeah.
You need a bronze statue out in front of Mountaineer Field up here, because it'll always be Mountaineer Field to me. You know that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But that's what we need to do. We need a big statue of him out in front
Absolutely.
of that building.
I think so, and I've heard some talk about that actually.
Well,
when
we
you
need to
mentioned
keep
that,
talking
I
about
think
it.
I
Yeah.
think we do. Yeah, no question, because it went from it went to a different level. It just, you can see it build year after year after year. It just, I mean, he brought it up to the level that we enjoy now. The fact that it used to be, back when I was younger, we listened to games on the radio. If WVU was on TV, you can bet we were all gathered around with our antenna watching the game, because we never got on TV. And now, we got to a level finally under Coach Nealon where we were a marquee game usually on Thursday
I'll give you
nights.
the stat. You ready?
Okay.
38, 13, and 1 in the 4 years that I was a player.
Wow.
So, and the year before that, these guys go to, obviously the Peach Bowl against Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
And kicking their teeth in on national television was and then the following year, going out and beating Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Those two marquee games are a testament to those guys like Talley and Dennis Folks. I can name them all.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, that again, that laid the foundation.
Sure did.
And I tell you what else it did too is it primed. Those early years in Mountaineer history, in that stadium, that was some of the most electric,
Oh man.
some of the most insane environments.
Yep.
I mean, I'll give you just one example, and that was the '84 year when we beat Boston College and then we beat Penn State. They tore the goalpost to the ground 2 weeks in a row.
Yes, sir.
Come on, and drug him down to Sunnyside.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah.
Which game was it when you ran into him on the field?
I don't
You was
remember.
like-
I don't remember what game it was. I think I told you this on the phone when we talked. We had season tickets with me and my buddies that we coached football with. We came to all the games, man. We didn't miss any. We were at the away games and everything. I don't remember the game, but of course we had a good time when we came too. So we'd always go down on the field after game and mill around. It's not like it is now. Now you try to walk down there and you might get clubbed.
Don't be blaming me on that either.
Yeah,
I was here for the Virginia Tech game. That's why he's saying I did something. I didn't do it.
Yeah. Anyway, I walked down on the field. Of course, I'm down there milling around, talking and waving. I turned around and ran right into him, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's the biggest person I've ever." I'm so sorry, sir. Didn't mean to. He said, "It's all right, man."
It was totally unintentional.
Yeah, I turned around, ran right into him. My face hit that number about right there. It's like, wow,
that's some fun
a big
times.
guy.
We had,
it was a blast. It was a blast.
Those atmospheres. I mean, back then that they used to tell us that on this day, that was the second largest city in the state.
Yep.
Was in that stadium.
Absolutely.
And what a great experience.
Oh, it was
what a great
fun.
experience.
It was
That's why I love to come back.
Yeah.
Not only to see these guys, but but to get that feeling again, I feel like I feel like I'm 18, 19,
Right.
20 years
That's
old.
right.
again,
That's right.
And it just feels good.
You got to see the game. So what do you think? You got to see the spring game? I know you can't tell a lot, but
It's so different anymore. I mean, you're out there, they're doing competitions and they're giving awards. And I mean, we used to give awards at a banquet. But now it's different.
Right.
But I can tell you this: they have an incredible stall of quarterbacks, which I think these guys are smart enough. I mean, let's face it, Neil's been there now. His times now or never.
Right.
So he's got to make decisions, and I hope they're all doing the same, and I think they are.
Yeah.
Create the competition. Let those guys compete.
Right.
And most importantly, man, pull the trigger on the one that's going to lead us.
Yeah.
Okay. And if it's 3 of them, so be it.
Right.
Whatever. But there's some talent. Our offensive line, and of course, it all starts up front.
Right.
And I'm as an offensive line coach, as a former player, I can honestly say that if you don't have those hogs up front doing everything, then we got a problem.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
And with Zach Frazier going to be a consensus All-American, and what's around him, Big Nestor staying. You got some pretty good front guys.
What do you think about Jimmy Bell coming over from the basketball team?
He holds a lot. God help him, and he jumps off sides a little bit now.
He's a little rusty. He's a little rusty.
But
Okay.
his body type matches what this game has become.
Yeah.
And that long, lean, mobile, being able to go, got a high stamina. So he don't get tired. He's a basketball guy.
Yeah.
But we got to work on his inside technique. If you're going to hold, baby, you got to get better than that. All right, it can't be like grabbing him by his jersey when he runs by.
I'm sure that was a rude.
Is that why he got in foul trouble all the time, or what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure that was when he walked up when he saw when the guy running by him. He's like, "Oh my God!" I'm sure it was different for him. This guy.
Contact and collision. That's why you don't get a lot of basketball guys flopping.
Right.
Even though, don't get me wrong, basketball's a brutal game. They beat each other up, but it ain't football.
Not like
It ain't football.
not like football.
But it's exciting. I think we got some pieces. I think the biggest thing is that again, and I don't see Neil Brown getting away from his philosophies. I don't see him he did things and got things in order and made some alignment changes, and we got some other blood. Rashid Marshall coming in to be a consultant, working with the kids. It's all there. And for him, you got 1 year.
That's right.
This is it. This is it. So you better shoot. You better shoot all 6 freaking.
Right, that's right.
And go with it.
Got to go for it.
Right?
And we had a discussion about this the other night down in Charleston. We were talking about Neil Brown and the team and all that, and talking about the different coaches and all those types of things, and what the band of brotherhood is. And the fact that, everybody wants to win. We all get that. I said, but, a lot of these, armchair coaches sitting around, fire this guy. I don't think they understand what goes into this, the work that goes into it, the time that goes into it. And I know they make lots of money nowadays and all that. But there's something to be said for the fact that you don't hear news stories on ESPN about West Virginia being under investigation, West Virginia being in trouble for violating NCAA rules. You don't hear those things. And I said, and Neil Brown is obviously an upstanding guy. He's a good guy, and he's a good football coach. It just takes time, especially now with this NIL all just starting during his start. You got to figure out how to use all that and how to do it all. And I'll be honest. I don't like to talk about opinions about whether he should be fired or not or whatever. I just think they need to leave the guy alone, let him coach football. I think that there's something to be said for being a good person and a moral person and playing by the rules and all those types of things. But I know you got to win. I understand that. Wins eventually going to come, but I think people just need to back off a little bit. Let him coach.
I'll address those armchairs real quick. All right. If you like any judgment, you got to walk a mile in them shoes, and you got to experience it. And you can ask anybody, and I'll give you a great example of this. You can ask anybody who is behind the scenes in those closed doors. You can ask any one of them, and the amount of respect that's granted to a Neil Brown is just like the respect that came to Coach Nealon.
Right.
You know, those guys, you know, surround yourself with good people, but it's all in what they say when you're not around that really truly matters.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with a former coach that was here who's down now south coaching, and I cornered him. I said, hey, just you and me. Come on, tell me the truth. What do you think? and he gave me a 15-minute. It was so reassuring to hear, because I know this guy, and I've been around him, and I talked to the players a little bit, you know, and again the response is always that of the utmost respect. The guy cares about his team. He cares about his players. He cares about his locker room. He's got an open door policy. He takes care of them. You know, but you know what? Hey, now you're gonna have to put the foot down on the gas, coach, because now it's time. You know, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, it's
but
part
he's
of it.
not going to change his philosophy. That's what wins. That's you know, we got to have the players doing what they're supposed to.
Yeah, right.
And you know, playing the game at a high level and win it. And we got to do, you know, we got to do everything we can to attract players here now in this landscape and keep them here.
Right.
You know, once you get here, you can ask anybody. Once you get here, you're hooked.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
Come on now. I mean, great facility. You know, everything around that all those buildings, the hospital, the children's hospital. I mean, it's just beautiful. And you know, the people here, the scenery, all the stuff there is here in this state. You know, we overlook that sometimes. And I get it. You know, we've got an economy and all, and I get it. But at the end of the day, having a great football program is going to impact the economy.
No, absolutely.
End of sentence.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
might as well live it and go.
Absolutely.
But we got to win. Like
Gotta
you
win.
said,
That's right.
Greg,
Yeah,
we got to
win.
win.
Yeah.
We don't win.
Yeah.
You know, and you get, you know, everybody wants to run them out on a rail. And this schedule we got this year is freaking a nightmare, man.
Yeah, pretty brutal.
I saw it's like in the top 5 toughest schedules.
I think we're playing like 5 or 6 top 25 schools. Already.
Yeah, plus add Penn State, Pitt, and that meat grinder. So hey, whatever, man. It's exciting.
That's right. Well, you know, we were talking to.
What we got coming here?
Hey, look at here. We got a special guest visiting us here.
No, I just decided to come over because you were talking to Brian. I just decided to come over and see what you guys are talking about because I couldn't hear.
We're talking about opinions on Dale Wolfley right now is what we're doing.
What?
Opinions on Dale Wolfley. What do we think about Wolfley?
Oh, what you think about Dale?
Wow,
that's a loaded question. Seriously, that's a really loaded
I'm not
question.
touching it.
Dale's one of those guests that you get on and you don't have to say anything. You lay the phone down and let him go, man. He'll go for half an hour.
Hand him the mic. He's never met a mic. He didn't mic.
That's exactly right. Yeah, he'll talk for half an hour.
He loves to hear himself talk.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
for sure.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
give him that.
Yeah.
God bless him.
We did talk a little about you, and we were talking about just the Mountaineer way, Mountaineer football, and what this book, The Band of Brothers, it's not only about these guys, but we were talking about that it's WVU football totally, because all you guys, there's that connection, and there always has been.
It's a band of brothers because guess what? Even though they came before us, we're still their brothers because guess what? They laid the groundwork for us.
You're Mountaineers.
And when they lay the groundwork, you walk on top of that ground's a little special. So with that being said, you can line up and put on blue and gold, guess what? You can walk in our room.
Man,
I'm telling you, I'm over here too with chill bumps.
Right, you know, and I told you guys earlier, you know, Darryl was one of the big reasons why when I got recruited as a youngin', the emotion and the atmosphere here was that of what Nealon sold Darryl on, Darryl sold me on. Get ready, boy, because this is going to be a fun ride. Now get out there and wash my car. He made me wash his car. He had a white. Listen to me. He had a white.
That's what we want to know right here.
Truth, man. This is the friggin' truth.
He's dead serious. He's dead serious.
This guy had a Porsche 911, a white Porsche 911,
Hey, that was
with a big Playboy emblem on the roof.
Wait a minute. He was in college and had this?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
well, yeah.
You know how I got
That's all that NIL money.
No, it wasn't no NIL money. That came from 16 hours a summer. All summer. I worked 16 hours. I worked 2 jobs.
Wax
in
job
order
too?
To buy that.
Well,
Did you have to wax it too, or
No,
what?
I didn't. I had to wash the dirt off.
Just get the dirt off. That's all I needed.
Yeah, but you got to understand, I was a true freshman, and I had worked my way into the starting lineup as a nose guard. I was on his defense in the middle, taking up blocks. I didn't know how to play football. I was just a big old kid, and because I was the biggest kid at that time, probably.
He was the biggest kid on the team.
he's the biggest
He's the biggest in
The
this
only-
building right now.
The only other guy that was halfway his size was Crash, and he was playing right tackle.
And who is this?
Jim Rogers.
Jimmy Rogers. He
Okay,
was a
okay.
beast.
He was a
beast.
big person.
He was a beast. But I got blowed out going into our first game. Mike Durrett. I got hit by Dave Johnson and Mike Durrett, 100 and over. Of course, that's back in the days when you could actually block people and hit people and cut them and do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, you could do that back
Well,
then.
I was getting scoped on Monday. Thank God they had scopes.
Yeah.
I got lucky.
Yep.
Doug Bowers.
Hey, you know something else that, and I talked about this on the show after we talked to him. This Hall of Fame thing. I had, of course, his bio in front of me and the stats and everything, and I'm looking at that and thinking, for the amount of time that this guy played in the NFL and the stats that he compiled, I can't believe that this hadn't happened, 5 years after you're done when you get eligible? What in the world are they looking at?
Mountaineer legends, Mountaineer God. This guy is the absolute marquee guy, and you know what? And Daryl, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. If that guy would have made that kick and you guys would have won that Super Bowl, you'd be in the Hall of Fame right now. 5-10 years ago.
I honestly believe that.
Do you agree?
I believe if he had won one of his games,
Yep.
And there'd be another 3 or 4 guys.
Probably be another couple, 3
you're
guys.
right. You're right on. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
We have guys that I played with: Cornelius Bennett, Steve Tasker, Kent Hall. Yeah. All 3 of those guys deserve to be in camp.
Yeah.
And had we won one, yes, it probably would have been a lot better.
I think you're right.
A lot easier. But then people would have been. I don't know. I honestly. Now I'm starting to wear my 4 Super Bowls as a badge of honor because you know what? It is truly a badge of honor because in order to run that gauntlet 5 years in a row, because in 1989 we lost the Cincinnati Bengals in the championship game. So that would have been 5 in a row. So if that's the case, you know what? I have to ride that. I have to live it because you know what? It's my truth.
Hey, who's the all-time tackler for the Buffalo Bills?
Yours truly.
You
That's right.
That in and of itself, participating in them Super Bowls and getting this, but being the number 1 tackler in the history of the Buffalo Bills. Give me a break, brother.
I was happy
You
with
got
that.
my vote. You know that all day long.
I was going to say, Coach, he goes, our buddy Jason, he works with us on this network.
Yes.
He's a Bills fan. Today's his birthday.
Happy birthday.
To Jason, yeah. Happy
Jason?
Yeah, look at there. There you go. There you go.
Hey, happy birthday, Jason.
There you go, man. Oh, man. He was a Bills fan, I'm telling you. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this real quick. Yesterday we played some golf over there at Lakeview, and I ran into these boys. Happen to be from Buffalo, okay? They happen to be from Buffalo, and they come down here every year. They play golf together, and they found Lakeview. And we got this little alumni thing we're out there playing, and I hear Buffalo. And, of course, my dad's from Buffalo, and I got family up in Buffalo. They got one cousin lives right near Rich Stadium. Anyway, I see these guys, and, of course, I'm all goosebumpy. You can't see them like this. But I get the honor and the privilege of telling these guys, hey, man, Daryl Talley's here. And you should have seen these guys light. And then yesterday, we're out there. Daryl gets there. He's in a golf cart. He cruises up, and we got these guys all held up.
Yeah.
And the first foursome that came through got to take a picture. The second foursome didn't get to take a picture because he had to go some and do his thing. So, I'm saying, hey, them guys up front got a picture.
They left.
So last night we're at Tropics, and this one guy comes up to me later in the evening, and he says, listen, He says, is there any way I could get a picture with Daryl? I said, nah, come here. And I grabbed him by his wrist, and I walked him right up into Daryl's face.
He walked him right over to me and said, he goes, he says, hey, Daryl, here's these two guys from the Bills Mafia. Oh, really? Right away.
Oh, man.
It's done.
And what a lot of people don't remember. I mean, I remember far enough back when Buffalo, the Bills were horrible.
Oh, bro.
But after these guys, him, Bruce Smith, all those guys, they were awesome.
Hey, look, you ever been 2-14, 2-14, and 4-12? Everybody beat your butt, but everybody in that mother beat you. And I hated it. I hated it. I hated getting beat. So if I hated getting beat, like my dad told me, you don't like the situation, son, do something to change it. Do something.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about it. Do something.
Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you all did. Yeah, I think you did. And you're from Cleveland, right?
Yes, he's Cleveland.
I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so I can say that, even though I got a Buffalo Bill. I'm a Browns fan. I know he's from Cleveland.
Oh, man.
I'll probably get a pass on that. But most people, when I tell them I'm a Browns fan, they feel sorry for me. I'm like, oh, man, sorry, man.
I don't feel sorry for you.
They were good back then, too.
They were hell.
Yeah, they were good back those days as well.
I promise.
Yep. You're here signing autographs, of course, but you see all this going on around you for the book signing and everything. What's it mean to come back to Morgantown and be here for these kinds of things?
It means a lot. I mean, it means a lot because actually not a lot of us get to do that. And when you do get a chance to come back to where you were at for a while, it generally makes you feel happy inside. You feel good. You're looking forward to seeing people that you haven't seen before. And just to come see how the campus has changed. Because let's put it this way. When I first got here, I played at Old Mountaineer Field. I opened this one up with John Denver.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So now I'm coming back and I'm looking, I'm going, I wonder who's going to be singing next.
Yeah. Well, who's
Like
next?
Brad Paisley already did it.
Yeah.
Brad Paisley's already.
Brad Paisley's been in there. Yeah. Oh, man. Hey, how about that box we were in?
Yes.
I didn't even know they were in that stadium.
I didn't even know they had one like that.
I was blown out, man. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful facilities. Of course, you can't get into the facility unless you got like a
key
Fort
code.
Knox key code.
I think they're calling for you back over here.
All right, let me go.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later. I had to come over and interrupt.
Nah, you're the man. You're the man, Daryl.
That's fun stuff, man. That's fun stuff.
I'm going to tell you what, that dude, man,
He's
he was a baller.
he's a special man.
Oh,
He's
he's a
a great
baller.
player. He's a great guy.
Oh, unbelievable player. And I said this with all sincerity. How the hell is he not in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know.
What they won?
Honestly, one game.
Yeah.
They won
Well,
one.
I mean, like, just going to the Super, like he was saying, 5 years, going to the Super Bowl 4 years. Think about the wear and tear on your body. Like,
Those
just
extra games?
going back to back to Super Bowls. I mean, they went
That's
to
a long
4.
season.
Yeah,
I mean,
and how many players have you heard say, well, I got in the Super Bowl my first year playing, thought, man, it's easy, and then never get in there again.
Yeah.
They realize how difficult it is to get to the Super Bowl, and you think they were there 4 years in a row. Like,
I mean, they just like.
yeah.
Wow.
You're dealing with the Cowboys dynasty.
Yep.
I mean, it just is what it is. But still make it to the Super Bowl. That's crazy.
I had to mention the Browns because they beat them
I
one
know
time in
you
the playoffs.
did. I know. Yeah.
Then we got beat by Denver. But anyway, all right, we need to break away from here and let Brian get on to his business. There's lots of people to see here. I'm sure that he wants to talk to. We're not going to keep you much longer. We appreciate you taking a little bit of time to talk to us. Always enjoyable and entertaining and fun to talk to you.
I appreciate you having me. It's a pleasure. Anytime you want me, you call me.
Absolutely.
But, if we're going to talk some Mountaineer football, I'm in.
Ready to roll.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Stay
we shall
blessed.
return here in just 1 minute. Stay with us, everybody. Thank you, my man. back to the New River Network's coverage of this book signing band of brothers here in Morgantown. We are at Kegler's. Those of you who are familiar with this area, you know all about Kegler's. And this place is just full of former Mountaineer players and kinfolks. And we have one of those with us right now. And again, anyone who knows anything about Mountaineer football remembers the name Jim Braxton. And we are blessed to have with us his niece, right? And her name is Jamie, and she's been kind enough to step over here to talk to us a little bit. And she's informed me already that it's Uncle Bubby, correct?
It is Uncle Bubby.
Uncle Bubby. So we're going to talk a little bit about Uncle Bubby. And if you want to just talk about the man himself, you can. Or you can talk about your own self if you want to tell us all about you. We'll listen to that, too.
You listen to me. Well, it's funny hearing all these football stories because I was actually born the year that Bubby was drafted in 1971.
Wow.
So a lot of people remember everything he did on the field, but what I remember more than anything is when he came home to visit.
Okay.
And I got to spend time with my cousins, his sons.
Right.
And when he came home, my grandmother kind of turned it into a feast. And he was looking for two specific things: his mama's sweet potato pie and his mama's pound cake. But what was funny about her pound cake is he liked it a specific way. And she would make him his own pound cake because he wanted it to be extra moist. So she would make it and leave out a cup of flour so that he would have this extra moist pound cake. And that was, get this, that was Bubby's pound cake.
He was the only one allowed to have it.
He had to give you some, but you weren't allowed to take it. But that was his pound cake that was made with less flour. So it looked funny and everything, but that's how he wanted it.
That's fantastic. You know, we already had one Buffalo Bill legend on here. I have heard from certain people, I'm not going to mention his name, but if it weren't for Jim Braxton, he wouldn't be the running back that he was back in those days. And you hear a lot of folks say that. He was just a tremendous football player, but a better person than that. And I told you the story earlier when I was in middle school. He came to our school. He was already in the NFL at this time. He came to our school and talked, and we got to hang around afterwards and talk to him, and just so nice and humble, and just a genuinely good person, you could tell. And that's the type of person he was. Never got the big stars and the names, but he blocked for OJ, of course, and he was just a good football player. I'll tell you another story. Talking to these guys, his teammates, and this is one of the things that, and I don't know how much of a sports fan you are, but you look at today's climate in college football, what it's like. When he was in college, of course, he was a fullback, and he was projected to be an All-American at fullback, and they asked him to switch to tight end, and he said, absolutely, whatever it takes to win. Of course, he went on to become an All-American tight end as well. Right. But what do you think would happen today if they ask a player, hey, you're a great running back, but we need you to play wide receiver? They're going to be like, see ya.
Okay, full disclosure. It was Bobby Bowden who asked him to play tight end. It was Coach Bowden who said, we need you to play tight end. I don't know what would happen today. Well, I don't know, because there really have never been a lot of all-purpose players.
Right.
But my uncle was a fullback, went to tight end. He kicked. And then he gets drafted, and it's time to be running back again. But, oh, by the way, there's this dude named O.J. on the team. So you're going to need to be fullback. Right. So.
And I don't think a lot of people know or knew that he was a kicker. He was a good kicker, too.
Just do it all.
He can do everything. Catch great hands, catch the ball. That's one of the things he did. I always said that he kind of transformed the NFL because he could catch the ball coming out of the backfield, which that was kind of that wasn't a thing back then, much, but he could. And they used him that way a lot. He did more than just block. He was a good football player. Got any good stories you want to tell us other than the pound
about
cake?
Sweet potato pie and pound cakes? Well, you'll never hear a story about our family without somebody talking about my grandmother.
Okay.
And that was Bubby's mom. And I'm not sure, without her kind of laying down the lawn, she was the true matriarch of the family. She was 6 feet tall.
Wow.
He could have played professional baseball when he finished high school, seriously.
Wow.
Good,
and she said, absolutely not. I never finished high school. I started a family when I was 16. My children will have their education.
Awesome.
And
the boss.
And so
right
going
there.
to college was the only option. He could choose where, but she told him he was going to college and not playing baseball.
Had to stay in school.
So.
That's good stuff right there.
Well, and Yeah, she's right. I mean, she had the experience, so she knew. So, and I'm sure he wouldn't will disobey his mama for sure. I'm guaranteeing. So you guys are you in town?
Then he wouldn't get pound cake. He gets on pound cake. That's what it was.
Yeah, she cut him off. Yeah. So are you in town for this event, the game, or are you just?
Ironically, I heard from Mr. Fear this week, and we've been in touch over the years. I'm here for my sorority's 40th anniversary reunion. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and we were founded. Our chapter here at WVU was founded 40 years ago this week.
Awesome.
So about 75 of my sorority sisters are here, and then I heard from Mr. Fear, and he's emailing me at work, and I'm like, okay, let me get this right. You're going to be in Morgantown too this weekend? Because I'm going to be in Morgantown.
Awesome.
And then the ball just started rolling.
Awesome.
That's good stuff.
We heard I started working up here, and there's our IT guy by the name of Ed Green, and
I know Ed Green.
You know Ed?
We went to college together.
That's really awesome. He's
at
awesome.
WVU.
There you go. Yeah, he's an awesome guy, big old guy, man. But he was telling us about the fraternity sorority thing going on up here this week. That's why I was asking. I kind of figured that's why you were here. Yeah, Big Ed. He's. I'm gonna tell him that I spoke to somebody that knew him. I don't know, Ed. There's some stories to tell. He's a great guy.
That'll be where the story ends.
He comes up to our office. He's our IT guy. He got our computers fixed up and everything. We're just starting, and he spends more time. We sat there for like 4 hours and talked about Mountaineer football and all that. I'm like, how do you ever get any work done, man? We just sat and talked the whole time we were there.
Ed is another one of the people who lived in Braxton Tower in the 90s, so he was there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, great guy. We like Ed. Listen, I know you got another commitment that you have to be at here shortly. You're probably running late already. Let's see. Yeah, we're about 10 minutes away, so you got another commitment. We do appreciate you stopping by and
Thank
talking
you for
to
having
us.
me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nice meeting you.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And it's always cool to meet all these folks and then to meet folks that know these folks.
Hey, I want to tell you one thing.
Right.
So I'm the person who picked up the cooking genes from my grandmother.
Nice.
So next time I see you, I'm the only one in the family who can make that sweet potato pie and that pound cake.
There we go.
So next time I see you,
We got to have her on the show again.
I got your back.
Got to have her on the show.
I'll bring the sweet potato pie and pound cake. All right.
We'll be
That's
expecting.
a deal
Thank
right
you
there.
so much, Jamie. We appreciate you again, Jamie Braxton.
Thank you both.
Of course, Jim
absolutely.
Braxton.
Thank
we all
you.
know all about Jim Braxton and what he did, not only for the WVU Mountaineers, but going into his professional career and his life. Obviously, has impacted a lot of folks, and we are thrilled to have someone that actually knew him here to talk to him, other than his teammates. They all have the same stories, but she has a different take on things. So that's awesome. We appreciate her, and we appreciate you for watching. We're going to take a quick break and let her get out of here to her other commitment. You're watching the New River Network. We are here at Kegler's in Morgantown, and this has turned into quite a celebration here, more so than a book signing. It's a celebration, and we hope you'll come back and join us for some more special guests. Stay with us, everybody. Thank you so much.
give me a microphone.
Welcome back to the New River Network's coverage of the book signing, Band of Brothers, Then and Now, by Frank Fear. And I've said already a couple times that this book signing has turned into a celebration more than a book signing. That we have all kinds of former players here from all eras, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and got a couple of guys up here. You can tell by looking at them, these guys played in the 90s, right?
90s?
Don't believe that.
I'm going to make sure we can hear you. I'm going to let you introduce yourselves and tell everybody what your affiliation, what you did, where you played, what you played, coached, etc.
My name is Dave Ben. I'm from Akron, Ohio. I didn't play in the 90s, though, man. 67 to 70.
67 to 70.
67 to 70. And this is my helmet.
There's his helmet that he played in, and you look at that helmet, it's a who's who of football players on there, and coaches, Bobby Bowden. Saw a bunch of names on there that we...
Don Nealon.
Don Nealon's on there.
Bill Stewart.
There you go.
There's Garrett Ford.
Yep. Got some names.
Frank Signetti. Sam Huff.
Sam Huff, we've heard of him.
Jim Carlin. There's Frank again. Don, Damon
Holgerson.
Oh, he had the nastiest mouth. But it's got the green cross on the back.
Right. And
they put that on there for our last 2 games in 1970 because of Marshall.
Right. Plane crash, okay.
And this is the only helmet from that year that's still around with the green cross.
With the green cross.
Yeah.
Boy, tell them who you're going to donate it to.
Let's go to the West Virginia University.
There you go.
When I die, that's where it's going.
Awesome. I did say it needs to be in a museum somewhere where people can see it, or up in the facilities building.
It is a piece of West Virginia history.
Yes, it is. We actually saw a helmet Thursday night. I don't know if you guys got to see it. There was a guy who was a kicker there, I think.
Frank Nestor?
Frank Nestor. Yeah. He had his helmet, but it was he told the story that when he got there to play, his head was so small they didn't have a helmet to fit him. And he said, Coach Carlin, when you walked out on the field, you had to have your helmet on. He was a freshman, I think. Of course, didn't get to play, but they had been practicing or something. Came over to watch the big guys, as he called them, practice, and he didn't have his helmet. So make this a quick story. Carlin asked him where his helmet was. He said he didn't have one. They were too small. He said, where'd you play high school? I think it was Ravenswood, he said. So he made somebody go get on the phone, call down there, and send him the helmet that he wore in high school, and they got it and painted it and fixed it so he had a helmet to wear. So he had that helmet with him down there. But yeah, you're right, didn't have a cross on it. Dickie, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us your affiliation.
Okay, my name's Dick Roberts. I played from 67 to 70. I grew up in Welch, West Virginia. From McDowell County.
Yep.
We had 5 players from McDowell County that all started during that time frame for West Virginia University. Bob Gresham, Oscar Patrick, Danny Smith, myself, and Randy Fletcher.
Wow.
And I'm very proud to have grown up in McDowell County. At that point in our life, there was 100,000 people.
Yeah.
Now there's 20,000.
Right.
And anytime you messed up, it took the village to raise the kids. My mom and dad knew about it before I got home.
Oh, guarantee it.
And they didn't spare the rod. One time I told my brother, I said, Big Don, he graduated from West Point, played for Bill Parcell up there, and also retired colonel, ranger, doctor. I said, how come you never get a butt whipping like I do? He said, little brother, you can't keep your mouth shut. He said, if you would keep your mouth shut and not have the last word with Dad, he wouldn't beat you like he does. And one time I loved my dad and mom to death. One time my dad was getting ready to give me my whooping. Now, he'd always talk to me 5 or 10 minutes before he hit me. I said, Dad, forget the conversation. Just give me the whipping. After about the second lick, I said, Dad, let's you and I sit down and talk. I said, I don't know about this whipping now. I would rather talk with you. I could be.
We'll have a little discussion. Huh?
Please, let's talk. That was at the second lick, Coach. And one time I had just left West Virginia University as a freshman, and when I got home, I'd always go to the mines that next week and work. So I stayed out partying a little too much at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was supposed to go to work the next day. I said, Dad, I believe I'll lay off work today. He grabs me by the ankle, throws me in the floor, and said, boy, you're not going to lay off work because you've been out partying all night. He says, you're going to work. I'm going to check your time sheet and make sure you didn't go up on the side of the road here someplace and take a nap. I was laying track in low cold at that particular time. I don't know why, but I had the dry heaves. And I slept good that night. My gosh, did I sleep. It was a great amount of years. I had a lot of, and we were brothers. And just like Mickey Plumley said in the book, the reason we bonded was most of us were poor.
Right. Yep.
My dad didn't go but to the 6th grade, and my mom graduated from high school. But we leaned on each other. We had so many teammates that did not have a father, and it was because possibly early deaths due to pneumoconiosis.
Yeah.
I've said enough now, Coach. I'll let the bull take over.
I was going to say, even these guys, other guys that we've talked to, Brian Joswiak, Daryl Talley, some of those guys are a little bit younger than you guys. They talk about you guys as being, you are the ones that laid that foundation for Mountaineer football to get to where it has elevated to today. And they are very respectful of you guys and consider you all a major part of their lives and their program.
Now, I need to say one more thing,
awesome.
Or I'm going to get myself in trouble. The best thing that ever happened to me was marrying Mary Catherine Woolwine. She has been I have been her mission in life, and I have finally straightened out.
I was going to say, that's a lifetime of work.
They called her St. Kathy for putting up with me. She's a devout Catholic. And I know, I said, why are you going to confession? You don't do anything wrong. She said, I'm trying to help you. So, no, my wife has been my pillow in my life.
Awesome stuff. You guys...
she passed gas.
Well, that happened.
No, she was a nurse anesthetist.
Randy's out there shooting spitwads at us.
I think people can get the idea of why you guys are so tight here. It's pretty obvious when you sit there, all of you in one room together. I told Frank the other night, I said, it's fun talking about the book and the 69 Peach Bowl win and all that. I said, but I would love to be in a bar after 4 or 5 beers and sit and listen to some of these conversations.
He's shooting spitwads.
Randy is throwing spitwads at us. He'll never grow up. Have you interviewed Randy?
We had Randy on Thursday night.
Randy will never grow up. Watch him duck.
And he's from down in the Big Creek area.
Oh, yeah.
War. I think he told me. When I used to I worked for a congressman for a while, and I would drive him around different places, driving Miss Daisy, and we'd go down to Welch all the time. And
God's country.
Yeah, well, it's not exactly the way he framed it, but yeah, that's what I called it, God's country. But yeah, when you said 100,000 people, I'm like, whoa, because I didn't see any people when I went down there. 10, 12, something like that.
Frank, look at that.
Yeah, we're getting
look at that. That's a spitwad.
That's a spitwad.
He'll never grow up.
Hey, I taught school for 32 years and it wasn't this bad.
There's another spitwad. We used to do that when we were down.
Yeah, I taught school for a long time. It wasn't anything like this.
You didn't have the aim he has.
That's right.
He's making some more bullets.
Yeah, he's getting the ammo ready. Isn't he? We're all going to get pelted here in just a minute.
Here it comes.
Well, before things get out of hand, I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are about Frank writing this book, what this book means to you, and what you hope to see happen.
Take away, Bull.
I got my own mic here. It's helped us gather together more and more and more, and we've become more tighter and more. It's just more and more fun.
Right.
We've always had a great time, and we've always been connected. But this book just ties us together tighter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just a fun book.
Yeah, and I think, I've told Frank this several times, just getting to be around you guys and talk to you and watch you interact with each other, I think he couldn't have titled that book any better because you surely are a band of brothers. There's no question about that. You can see that. You can feel it in the atmosphere, and just watching you guys interact, it's fantastic. It's so exciting for me to have gotten to connect with so many of you and talk to you. It's been so much fun, and we really appreciate you. I'll tell you, as a Mountaineer fan, we love you. As a human being, I appreciate you, and for just being so kind and nice to me. I got me a Peach Bowl shirt, 69 Peach Bowl championship shirt, and was told that I was inducted into the brotherhood, so I feel like a part of you.
Mick Plum.
I'm the one that got you that blonde hair.
I was going to say, I'm going to guess who got the wig, and that was my first guess. I rubbed his hair the other night. I think you had already left, but I had him on, and I said, before you go, let me rub that.
They're so dang jealous of me, Coach. I still got the original dark hair.
You got the real thing, don't you?
They actually think that I dye my hair. I don't.
It's real stuff, huh?
I don't.
It looks great.
Now,
man.
my wife's got a lot of gray. I put every gray hair in her head.
Yeah, there's probably a reason why hers is gray and yours is not. Well, you look at mine, it's all gray too. That's why I keep it cut off. It's all gray. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Charlie and his hairdo. That was great. But he says next time I see him, he's going to have it cut. That's what he told me.
Don't believe that.
I wouldn't cut that. If I had that, we're getting bombarded by spitwads. If I had that, I'd keep that forever.
Charlie came by us the other day when we were at someplace, and he waved at us. I thought it was an old woman with gray hair.
I had him on the show. I hadn't met him. And I looked at pictures and watched some highlights of you guys on YouTube, and I had a picture when he played. And we did it at a burrito bar up there where I live. When he come walking in, it was like Fabio. It was like, whoa! Lights were shining on him. He was just standing there majestic with that hair flowing in the breeze. It was awesome. Then they started teasing me about being infatuated with his hair. So,
Coach, my brother went to West Point. Duty, honor, country. He asked me to go to West Point
Side
with
of the
him.
helmet has a big spit wad.
He asked me to go to West Point. I said, I can't go to West Point with you. He said, why is that? I said, number one, I probably couldn't get in. I said, number two, y'all got that honor code. I said, the first week, they be cutting my buttons off because my motto is, when in doubt, look about. It's better cheat than repeat.
That was our motto.
That's a good motto.
Their motto.
I was a math major in high school. I took algebra 1 2 times, algebra 2 times. But
well, I said that Charlie was he went to school 2 terms. One was John Kennedy's, the other was Lyndon Johnson's. I don't know how that goes, but yeah, another spitwad hit you.
Coach, Charlie and I were redshirted. He was redshirted in the 7th grade, and I was redshirted in the 1st grade. So I was a year ahead of everybody. Now, to be honest with you, I was, as everybody says, I was sick a whole lot.
There you go. Couldn't make it all the time.
The truth is, I couldn't color very well.
That's why you developed that motto that you did.
I hope we haven't been too bad.
Oh, they've been great. It
could have been worse.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely could have been worse. It has been worse at times, but not for these reasons you're thinking. But anyway, yeah, you guys, I was going to tell you another story. It's like y'all are interviewing me, but I was in Beckley. I live down the southern part of the state. I was in Beckley having lunch one day at a restaurant there where we had done the show before, and a guy sitting behind us yelled at me. He said, "Hey, buddy," he said, and I said, "Yeah." He said, "Are you the guy that made Charlie Fisher look like a Broadway star?" And I'm like, "I don't know about that. Maybe. Why? Who's wanting to know?" He said, "Well, I'm going to tell you what." He said, "Charlie Fisher," he said, "when I started college," he said, "Charlie was a senior." And he said, "I was up there 5 years trying to graduate." And he said, "When I graduated, Charlie was still a senior."
Okay, Coach, one more story about Charlie Fisher.
He told the same story just yesterday.
The second semester of my freshman year, they put me in the room with Charlie to help straighten him out. I saw how much fun he was having. So in 2 weeks, I was ruined.
He straightened you out, didn't he?
So I want to say about Frank's book, folks, it's very emotional.
Yep.
I appreciate all the hours he has put in and how much interest he took in us. We still had the bond we always will.
Right.
But it's more than a book about football. It's about Coach Bowden. It's about Coach Carlin.
Right.
It's about individual people that were very successful.
Yep.
And a band of brothers. But I can't say enough about Frank putting that book together.
It's been great. I tell you, when he hooked me on it, I, through a mutual friend, found out about it, and I watched the documentary on YouTube that he had. So I called him up, and I was like, I do this little show, and I like to interview people if you have anybody. And he said, well, let me send you some of the stuff that I've done so far. And he had all these interviews that he had recorded. So I'm about an hour and a half away from Charleston. I was driving to Charleston one day, and I listened to all those interviews, and I was like, man, I have got to get these people on the air, and I've got to talk to some of these guys. That is awesome. And I can't wait to read the book. My copy came today. I can't wait to get in there and start reading it.
It's a great.
Bob Kelly wrote a prayer for Pete Wood when Pete Wood passed away, and you need to read it.
Oh, I will.
I almost cried when I read it.
Yeah.
And in the book, they got a picture of me and Pete Wood hugging each other.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
I love Pete Wood. Jim Braxton, I was working in the mines in 1986. And I'm getting ready to go on the ground, and I'm reading the newspaper. Jim Braxton has died. I didn't even know he was sick.
Yeah.
I actually started crying a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And the superintendent said, Dick, what's wrong? I said, one of my brothers has passed away. He said, Dick, you don't need to go on the ground today. Now, I went back and taught school. I had a master's in safety.
Right.
But that particular day, mentally, I could not have gone underground.
Right. Yeah. Again, band of brothers. That's what it's all about. Listen, I appreciate you guys more than you know. I appreciate this entertainment that's been made the show, man.
Now, you'll get a bill from my NIL agent here pretty soon.
There you go.
I've got 1 year of eligibility left.
Okay, and I can tell you just from a lot of experience here, you'll get paid about the same amount we're getting paid. So good luck with that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Come back with some more folks on. I don't know if we'll get any more entertaining than this, but we may not get hit with as many spitwads possibly if we get somebody else.
Hold it, I've got a little head problem now.
Yeah, people watching will be like, what's wrong with those guys, man? Jerking around all over the place. All right, we'll get us a quick break in. We'll come back and have some more
Thank you a
special
lot.
guests.
I wasn't going to do the interview, but I got a head problem. I need a filter on my brain, my wife told me. And I need a filter on my mouth.
Yeah, I was going to say you're kind of shy, so I can understand you not wanting to get up here. Okay. All right, let's get some break in. We'll come back with some more special guests here in just a moment. Stay with us, everybody. Thank you all. Appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. Welcome back to the New River Network's coverage of the book signing for Frank Fear's book, The Band of Brothers. We're in Kegler's, and again, if you know anything about Morgantown, this place, you know where Kegler's is. I've said numerous times already that I think this has turned into more than a book signing. It's turned into a celebration and a historic celebration of Mountaineer football here. We've had folks from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's been a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. You guys are part of it, and I know we talked Thursday night down in Charleston. What's your response so far? I mean, you look at the response to this book. What's your guys' feelings about that? I know that must excite you all a lot.
Go ahead.
And by the way, this is they're two mimes, so they're not really going to talk. They're just going to sit there and look at each other. Yeah, this is Charlie Fisher and Randy Fincham. I always want to make sure I get that name right. Both played on the in that late '60s, early '70s era. Played on the Peach Bowl championship team, and a lot of fun. You guys, Randy's been over shooting spitwads. That's where the bombs were coming from.
That's a
minute ago. He's just misunderstood, though.
Misunderstood. That was a show of affection.
There you go. So again, back to the book here. What's your guys' feelings about the response? I mean, this is awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just super. I had no idea when Frank first started talking about it. I didn't think it would. I didn't think it'd make it. I thought, well, this is just some joker saying, "Hey, we'll write a book," and then boom, 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 and things just kept snowballing, and it's really been real nice. And like you said, I mean, you got Darryl Talley here, Brian Zoswiak, all these guys also who weren't from our era, but were just wonderful, great players.
Right.
And it's been great. I think it's been a good thing. Yeah. I hope the athletic department will embrace it a little more too.
Yeah, you hope so, and you wonder why they wouldn't. There's no reason not to. But I think one of the things that we and you guys will attest to this when we talk to Zoswiak and we talk to Darryl Talley. One of the things, and I've talked to a lot of these former Mountaineers over the course of the last couple of years of this show, but one of the things all of them seem to talk about is that connection between everybody that's ever been a part of it. And they all mention you guys as being the layers of the foundation that elevated the program to where it's at today. They're very respectful of you guys and appreciate you guys, I think probably more than you guys know, because all of them talk about you. But I think when you see an event like this, you can just see the connections. You can see that band of brothers, not only with that 68, 69, 70 time period, but right on up to, the last few years. I think you see that when you come to an event like this.
Exactly. To get back to your original question, we've been so close.
Let me turn your thing up there. Okay.
Okay. We've been so close throughout the 50 years, and then for Frank to write the book, it has just been, the reaction to it has just been phenomenal. It's been very moving for me. And getting to meet Brian, which I met in Fort Lauderdale, in Palm Beach County, and Darryl, I mean, to see the brotherhood that continued on, and for them to embrace us has just been absolutely amazing for me.
Yeah, and I think, again, one of the reasons, when I first got involved with this, we have a mutual friend that had contacted me and said, man, you might want to talk to this guy, get some of those guys on for your show. I was like, yeah, I'll talk to him. So I finally called him up one day, and he said, well, what I've done is recorded a lot of these interviews. He said, I'll send them to you. And driving down the road one day, I listened to all of them. And I was like, man, I got to get these guys on, So then I started watching YouTube videos, trying to go back and find some of your all's games. I found one that had the whole season on it, that recapped the whole season. Watched all that. It was just fantastic. And anybody who, even if you're not a Mountaineer fan, it's not really, in my opinion, not totally about football. It's about life. It's about people. It's about morals and the way good people are and the way good people act. And then, of course, the historical context with Mountaineer football is there as well. But anybody who's a Mountaineer fan would love to read this. Anybody who is a fan of great stories needs to read this book. It's awesome. Yeah, it's an awesome book. And I know things like this, you guys have probably all throughout your lives have done things like this. But I just get the sense when being here watching you all interact with each other that these times are special for you guys.
Yeah, well, one thing I think it happens, I mean, I'm 54 years old here now. And, And you get back, and I'm 19, 20.
Right, yeah. Because where I was in middle school and I was watching you guys play, man.
But I think one of the things that happens to the players is, I don't know, you associate a little more with how you were. I know I do. And carry on. And whoever was shooting those footballs there or whatever was kind of a fun thing to do. And you carry on with your buddies. It's the same thing. I'm 19, 20 years old again.
Yeah. Well,
at least mentally.
You're giving yourself too many years here, man. You're not that old.
Oh, thank you.
Emotionally.
I tell you what, watching some of those highlight films of you guys when you played, and I think I mentioned this to Charlie one time, the blocks that I witnessed from some of the people in those videos would get you kicked out of a football game today. And how you guys are still walking is amazing to me. And not because of your age, but because of the fact that you played football during that era.
Well, we were talking the other night about how an offensive lineman blocks now, and I wouldn't be able to play because they can now use their hands, and they couldn't. And Randy said it was like this, and it was.
Right, yeah, and you were able to.
But I could use my hands all I want.
Right. And you could get away from them a lot easier if they couldn't get a hold of you. So, you guys, I know, again, are excited about this. You're excited about the book. Did you take in the game today? I want to ask you that.
Yeah.
Did you get to see the game?
I went out, yeah.
What's your thoughts?
I think we're going to be okay. I thought I think far and away Green's the quarterback for sure. He just looks so relaxed and so in charge and everything. And he's been there 3 years.
I was going to say, got a little more experience.
Yeah.
So
I'm real happy with him.
When I got to watch of it, I enjoyed, but from a defensive point, they're going to need a lot more defense because there was an awful lot of points scored.
Yeah.
That would be on the first team defense.
Yep.
So,
did see a lot.
But I think they've got a lot of time, and I think they'll work it out. But no, I think there'll be an exciting season.
Awesome. Do you guys get back, get here very often for games during the regular season or just occasionally?
Fish lives in Florida.
Right.
I'm living down in Abingdon, and I'll get up here for one or two each year.
Awesome.
One or two somewhere. One thing I thought was interesting is the Vestarinian guy. We're starting a kid in the middle of the line from Finland, which is...
that's right.
Recruiting has gone worldwide now.
Yes, it has. And, with the social media and all that, you don't find many hidden gems anymore. Everybody's out there, So I think it's obviously a different era and different time to coach. But, again, I think looking at this book and hearing you guys' stories, it's been fascinating for me. I know that. It's been a pleasure for me to get to know some of you and get to hear these stories. It's been awesome. But again, I think, just talking to the younger guys, it's about this, Mountaineer spirit and that brings everybody together. And, you hear once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer and that sort of thing. And for me to witness it as a fan, more than exciting.
It is there.
Oh, yeah. You can tell. Yeah,
I think all of these people that came after us, I think Frank's going to get employed to write books in their area because it's just been a phenomenal thing what he's done.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just added that extra little spice to our life.
Yeah.
Well, I think Mickey mentioned it before. I'm sorry if I interrupt there, but Mickey mentioned the sum is greater than the parts.
Holding the parts.
Or whatever there. I really hope that comes through with them now. I think it was definitely true for us.
Yeah. Well, and I think, again, seeing the interactions and all that. Of course, you played the special time, too. I was, after I talked to Mike Sherwood down there Thursday night, I got on the internet, started reading some stuff about it because I was in his hometown, actually, because I'm staying in Bridgeport now. But so we go down to Moundsville to have something to eat, so we drove through the town. I'm reading about him. And, the record for 3 or 4 years there was pretty phenomenal. I don't think people really – I know they remember the 69 team, obviously, but it was pretty good before and after that as well, right there in that time period.
Well, his record's held for a lot longer than 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, another thing with our team, Bob Gresham held the WVU season rushing record for 22 years, Frank. And, that's an old Big Creek boy there, too.
Yeah.
And I don't think he ever really got the recognition he deserved. He got it late.
Right.
But if you hold the single season record for 22
years.
That's pretty daggone good.
Exactly.
Pretty good player.
Long time. Got tickled when I was talking to Mike Sherwood. I said, had all these records, and you were known as the Golden Arm, they called you. And I said, I was reading about the Peach Bowl and watching the video, the highlights of it, and you threw 3 passes in the whole freaking game. Yeah. So, pretty well-rounded squad there. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. I know you got places to go, you got people to visit with. I know you want to spend a little time with them before you have to take off. It's been so much fun talking to you guys this week. Go ahead.
One thing, I'm just glad that Dickie Roberts gave Dave Ben a chance to say maybe a word or two.
Yeah, I went ahead and got Dave's phone number because I said I'm gonna need to call you and interview you by yourself so I can hear your story. I said Dickie kind of took the stage over, and I remember him telling me the first time I ever talked to him that he said, "Well, I don't know if I can be on or not." He said, I'm a little bit shy. I don't really like to talk like that. I had no idea. Right. So I met him down there the other night.
But, Coach, thank you, Dave and Darren. I really appreciate you all just pulling us in and letting us do our thing. And your all's excitement it runs right through.
Hey, I've told Frank numerous times, nobody has to thank me because this has been an absolute thrill for me. To get to talk to you guys, to get to know you, and just to go back and relive all that together, I think it's been an honor for me. I'll just tell you that.
After getting Dave and Dickie, I told him if he could pull that off, he can go to ESPN now.
Yes, sir. He'll be ready.
Coach, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Love you too, man. Appreciate you. Yep. Hang on to that. And we got a special guest coming up here in just a little surprise guest you guys might want to hang around and listen to, but that's Randy Fetchman and Dickie Roberts up here, Charlie Fisher. Who else have we had? Can't name them all now. Dave Ben has been up here. So we've had a lot of good guests. Charlie Fisher, we interviewed him at the Burrito Bar when I mentioned to him earlier, and teasing him about his hair all the time. And they really gave me a riding over that. And actually got me a wig for a show one time, so that was a lot of fun as well. These guys have been a blast, and like I said, we've got us a surprise guest coming up here. Gorb, we need to get you back in here, man. These guys.
It's been a while since I've been on.
They keep talking about you and waving at you over there, but you ain't on.
At least I'm not getting spit watched.
That's right. That's true. We were just talking about the fact that we got a surprise guest coming up here after we take our next break. But, man, it's been a ton of fun, hasn't it?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, just being here, like I've been telling you, it's been 10 years since I've been here.
Right.
In Keglers.
Right.
I mean, just brings back a lot of memories, but just to have all this going on, that's crazy good.
Yep. And these guys have all been so gracious to talk to us and cut up with us and have a good time with us. They're not hard to interview, that's for sure.
No.
All right, let's get a quick break here. We're not going to take as long a break as we did last time, a couple minutes, and we'll be right back with that special guest. So I hope you'll stay with us. Welcome back to the New River Network's coverage of the after party for Frank Fear's book signing. It's been a wild time here at Kegler's in Morgantown. Again, if you are, what is this, Chestnut Ridge? Is that what this is? Suburban Court?
I'm just like blown away right now.
And right now we mentioned we were going to have a special guest, and here he comes. And you know him by the helicopter sound. None other than Muggy McLeod. Muggy McLeod is with us live tonight. Muggy, what is up, my friend?
Good evening, Coach. Muggy McLeod here, live on scene. Just walking through the town instead of flying over like I normally would do. And I got to tell you, I much prefer flying over traffic versus walking through it.
Yeah, that's probably a better thing to do. So you're not in your helicopter. Misty Raines is not with you tonight. How'd that all work out?
How'd you get here then?
Yeah.
Well, it was a long walk, boys, but I can tell you with my authentic Muggy McLeod outfit that you can purchase at muggymcleod.com
right.
for a mere $29.95.
There you go.
You can purchase this yourself, and I can tell you, it is a chick magnet waiting to happen. I had more women pull over and offer me a ride. I can't begin to tell you. And how blessed I am by Moniqua, Chunika, and Cynthia picking me up and bringing me down here to Morgantown.
I figured
But it took us about 35 more minutes, though, since I couldn't fly over the traffic.
I figured they thought maybe you were, I don't know, maybe homeless or down on your luck or something, maybe when they saw you in the outfits that you had on.
Well, yeah, I guess I could see that. I don't particularly think that. I mean, this is my normal attire. I wear it to work every day when I'm flying around in Chopper 1 NRN,
right.
One Eye in the Sky helicopter.
Right.
But, if you say so, Coach, maybe they felt sorry. And I got to tell you, Coach, these authentic Muggy McLeod motion sickness glasses, aeronautical goggles I'm wearing, they are quite effective in the air. As you can see, as your head tilts, the fluid in the glasses tends to move with you, therefore leveling out the flying plane. Oh, Mr. Talley, how are you, sir? And just so, I mean, Mr. Talley's more than welcome to wear them if he'd like.
He said no.
It's not easy being Muggy McLeod. People tend to make fun of me.
Well, you can't pay no attention to that kind of stuff, Hey, listen, you made the weather forecast last week on the show. Today's weather, crappy, like always. And it was pretty crappy today, but you held off on the heavy rains for the Blue Gold game to get played. So hats off to you for keeping the weather good for the big game.
Hats off indeed. And, Mother Nature tends to listen to me every once in a while, so I had asked her to hold off on the crappy weather, at least until the Blue Gold game was over, as you said. And fortunately, the 10 or 20 or 30,000 folks in attendance, and I believe about half of them are in here tonight,
I think so.
Were able to enjoy the game and raise money for a good cause and see what's coming in the fall. Hopefully a very good Mountaineer team.
Did you get a chance to fly over the stadium anytime today or last night or yesterday or anytime?
No, not today because, Misty McLeod is Misty. Oh, my bad.
Misty Raines.
Misty Raines.
Whoops. That's first time on television or stream.
Yeah,
my
live.
bad.
Yeah,
my
live.
bad.
Yeah.
That was
it's Misty Raines McLeod.
That was a Freudian slip.
Yep.
I will say your mic technique is pro. Not like that one guy, Crozier, we have on
Oh,
there.
yeah. Crozier, we couldn't get Crozier. He didn't understand that in order to be heard through a mic, you actually have to hold it up to your mouth and talk into it. He didn't understand that. You I think you've had some singing experience and that sort of thing, so
Yes.
you're familiar with that.
Yes, indeed, Coach. I've had quite a few opportunities to perform on stage live for individuals and groups of 10 or 20 or more.
Right.
And I am quite familiar with a microphone as, normally I have my Bobby Brown looking headset on when we're flying above the skies and looking down on everyone. That way I don't have to drag a cord from the NRN studios all over West Virginia where we are, located. So, that takes quite a long cord to do that. So if I can wear my Bobby Brown headset, that tends to help out a lot.
Well,
and, some people want to swallow the mic, Coach. They want to take it, they want to take it all the way down, and you can't hear it at all,
I understand.
It's okay, Mr. Globby. He must have a hair on his throat. I mean, in his throat.
You got your meteorological degree from WVU, I think, if that's what it's called. And you're also a singer, so I mean, you got any like alma mater or anything like that you can whip out a word or two for us?
Well, Coach, I graduated from West Virginia University. I believe someone once told me in 2 terms, which was Clinton and Bush. Those 2 terms. And yes, I am familiar with the my alma mater.
There you go. You get
that?
If we had this over the loudspeaker, you'd have had the whole crowd singing with you because there's nothing but Mountaineers in here.
Hail, oh hail, my alma mater, West Virginia.
Beat the hell out of Pitt.
Beat Pitt.
There you go.
Yes, sir, Coach.
There you go. So that sounds pretty good. Not bad, Muggy. All right, I know what's on your agenda here for the next week or so.
For the next week or so?
Yep.
Well, I'll be flying around doing other reporting for other networks that pay me, and so when I do that, occasionally I'll take note of where I am and call in to your show and. For a minimal to no fee, let your listeners know exactly what's going on in their neck of the woods. And so that's kind of the plan this week. I'm busy at flying over Aspire Services Center, 20 Scott Avenue, Suite 402, Morgantown, West Virginia.
I was just getting ready to say, if you want to mention Aspire, I know you are affiliated with that in some ways. If you wanted to mention that, tell us what that is and what's going on there.
Well, sure, Coach. I would hopefully have a better representative than me. I kind of think that maybe somebody might not take us seriously with this particular look right now.
I can't imagine that.
However, I do have a few fans, it looks like, in the audience today. Everybody looking at me kind of oddly, and
some pictures being taken.
And pictures of me, and Daryl Talley making his way up here to make fun of me, which at his size and age, I still don't think I can take him. So I'll be nice and smile, and a few Kegler's waitresses wanting to take their picture with me, which is. Probably wouldn't make Misty Raines very happy, but, she should have come.
That's right.
She should have flown me down here.
That's right.
Oh, what was the question? Oh, Aspire Services Center Incorporated, 20 Scott Avenue, Suite 402, Morgantown, West Virginia, is a...
The reason why I said you're affiliated, you do the weather for us at Aspire as well.
Yes.
To keep us updated, yeah.
Yeah, and, and as Mr. Gorby here will attest to, Coach Crist doesn't just interrupt me while I'm in the air flying. He interrupts me while I'm sitting right beside him, so... He has no uninterruption. Darren, where's his mic volume over here?
He thinks his name's on the show or something.
Since his name's on the show, I guess he thinks he can talk over people.
Oh,
anyway,
there we go.
As I was trying to say.
There, we got it fixed now.
Okay, as I was trying to say, Aspire Services Center is about 3 years old. It is a non-profit that was designed and developed by a local group of individuals and businessmen and healthcare providers looking to help those in recovery. We have a terrible epidemic in the country right now, especially in West Virginia, with substance use disorder and issues related to that, incarceration, unemployment, homelessness. So we are at Aspire trying to open up opportunities for individuals looking for re-entry programs to help them better themselves from a quality of life perspective and learning how to apply for jobs, interview for jobs, get jobs, maintain jobs, and then possibly if they need a place to reside, we'll have our peer recovery residence open soon, and we are already doing some peer recovery coaching and have a peer recovery organization at our facility so we can help people find resources they need to get help whenever they are in recovery, and with a specific focus on veterans.
Yep. And we're going to have a fundraiser before long, but toward the end of the summer, we've already talked to several former Mountaineers who have already guaranteed their full support of that adventure. So we'll be talking to folks about that as well.
Fantastic. And if I can... I think if the Aspire administrative staff can keep our business development manager from taking all the signed autographed memorabilia before the auction, we should be able to raise a little money to help our veterans.
There you go.
But we're looking forward to it, and we don't have it officially planned yet, but I believe it will be here at Kegler's. Speaking to our CEO, Bob Music, who has disappeared. Oh, there he is, talking to a lovely lady, of course.
He's up on the table trying to get
Is he on the table?
Trying to get a drink of water out of the water fountain.
Oh, he's on a chair trying to get a drink of water out of the fountain. Okay. Well,
and of course we got...
the lovely Judy Crist in the audience, glaring at me. eating her fried pickles, which were pretty good, by the way.
Yep. Oh, good food here.
Yeah, I don't ever get to eat or hang out with you guys because I'm always flying around up above.
I know.
And it's kind of annoying, actually.
Yep. And I'm trying to keep you on here a little bit longer. We have a guy, I don't know if I showed you this or not, who's been doing little sketches of us while we're up there talking.
Fantastic.
And he's straight back. We had him up here a minute ago. Dave Ben is his name, and I know he's working on Muggy's portrait right now, so we'll try to keep you up here as long as we can. We got to travel home after this. Muggy, it might be your brother coming in right there.
Well, as I told you, Coach, those two, that hat right there kind of looks like he might be trying to take my place.
He might be the entertainment for tonight.
Yeah, he could be. Looks like a guitar player. Anyway, for the Grateful Dead. Anyway. But the weather, of course, Coach, it looks like it's going to be crappy once again we can see the storm front moving in. It appears to be moving in from north to south, coming down from Pittsburgh, and everything we know from Pittsburgh is crappy. So, so anyway, that looks like what we're going to have to drive home in today, and it's going to be hard to let your dog Snoop out because he's going to be pinned in and a little bit suffering from the bad weather.
Now, is Snoop coming down with Misty?
Snoop's out in one of the chicks' vehicles that picked me up and drove me in here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if Misty must not be coming at all then, is she?
No, Misty bummed out on us today, Coach.
She's a little bit camera shy.
I believe that was probably the main thing, Coach. She's usually driving around in the helicopter up above and avoids the camera at all opportunity. And I would think that she's probably concerned that Darren might pan the camera over on her. So she decided to stay as far away as she could possibly stay.
Yeah, last time I talked to her, I think I mentioned to her that we were going to get her on the air one way or another, and I think that she might have took that to heart.
I'd rather have her here than flying me or driving me around anywhere, actually.
Well, we would be more than happy to get her on. I mean, she's a wealth of knowledge and, meteorological knowledge for sure, and she'd be great to have on. Plus, she'd keep you in line.
Yes, she tries to keep me in line with her aeronautical knowledge. And
she's more aeronautical than she is meteorological, isn't she?
She's more aeronautical and sociopathological. Something like that.
I hope she's watching. What's your? I know you're a Mountaineer fan. You graduated from here. The book, I don't know if you've got a chance to read anything about it. It's about the 68, 69, 70 Mountaineers who won the Peach Bowl in 69, went 11-1. And you see them all here tonight. It's this thing. As a former Mountaineer, what kind of feelings you get when you see these great football players getting together like this?
Well, Coach, I think it's a great thing. It's exciting. I'm glad they're all still alive and with us because, I was like 1 or 2 when they were winning the Peach Bowl. But, like every Mountaineer, every generation of Mountaineer fans and WVU grads like myself and Mr. Gorby and yourself being Mountaineer fans, it doesn't matter what generation you come from. You have your favorites, you have your memories, and like Darryl Talley. I remember being younger and watching him play, and just being excited. And you grow up just being Mountaineer fans. And as we all say, once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer.
That's right.
And I'm as excited to see those guys out here and enjoying the day as I would be if I saw, Will Greer in here.
That's right.
I mean, it's just an exciting day, and it's a good time for them to get recognized. And honestly, we ran into Skeeter over there a little bit ago. Coach Huggs' buddy Skeeter, Denver Allen, and he started naming all the 69 Peach Bowl players himself. And he was just, what's the gentleman you had on here last?
Charlie Fisher.
Charlie Fisher.
Yep.
He said, "Bob, that was Charlie Fisher over there." I said, "Yes, sir, it was. It was Charlie Fisher." I said, "My brother has a wig. It looks just like him."
Yes.
But anyway, they all have their moments and memories. You have no idea how accurate you are. And I would prefer you not to say that real loudly, though.
I wanted to ask you this question. That is funny right there. What do you think about the officials in here tonight?
The officials?
Yeah.
Yes, the officiating crew in here is, they're a little biased, a little opinionated, but they tend to pick on tight ends, and all in all, I believe they blow their whistles efficiently, and they deliver things on time, and pretty daggone good actually. They're not Hey, all right. That's me, Muggy McCloud.
Portrait.
They're definitely not hard to look at, and they do a good job there.
And we have we got another guest just off camera here that you're familiar with. Mr. Bob Music's been on the show before.
Yes, sir.
And familiar with both of us a little bit, I think.
Yes, sir. He's going to mingle in and try to get some camera time. He must be running for another office or so. He is the former mayor of Star City.
Bob Music is the former mayor of Star City, and he is a man about town here in Morgantown. Everybody in Morgantown knows Bob and enjoy being around him, I think.
Well, he is a man about town. And I guess people like being around him.
We better stop, Muggy, before you get you in trouble.
Well, he's not happy with the wings today. They're usually a little more fresh, a little more juicy, but he had to put his complaint in with Cheyenne because Cheyenne delivers our soup on Tuesdays, and now I'm kind of concerned that our soup on Tuesday won't be any good either. But nonetheless, he can't help speak his mind.
All right, Muggy. We appreciate you taking some time to stop by and join this celebration tonight. Been a lot of fun talking to you, and we look forward to hearing from you every Thursday up in the sky in Chopper One.
Yes, sir, Coach. This has been Muggy McCloud with your NRN One Eye in the Sky Chopper One walking traffic and weather team report. Over and out.
Over and out, Muggy, and everybody that's heard that, they know Muggy's voice. And
does that mean I have to leave now, Coach?
No,
you can
hang around all you want.
Can I just sit there and look at myself?
Yes, you can. You know, lots of people, David, will test to this. They like Muggy, and they think Muggy, now they know he's a real person, you know?
Right.
But,
it's dangerous right now.
There's more of me than I'm sure they would like to see.
I think they thought initially that it was kind of fake, but I think they know now that Muggy does exist and he is real.
No, there's only one Muggy McCloud.
That's right. All right. That's going to do it for this little segment, the Muggy segment.
There's nothing little about this segment, Coach.
No, there's not. This is a pretty full-size crew.
Yes,
the only time I felt small was when I had Daryl Talley on this side, Brian Joswiak on that side. I felt a little small then, Gorb. How about you?
Yes.
That's a big dudes, man.
Right.
I've never seen hands so big.
All I know is this official Muggy McCloud headgear that I'm selling for $19.95 on my website is pretty warm, so I need all the lights and camera and action. It's got me a little steamed up, so
can't handle
good
the
for
spotlight.
wintertime.
That's right. Can't handle the spotlight. All right, Muggy, we appreciate you. We're going to take a quick break, get our next guest up here, and talk to him a little bit more about Frank Fear's book and whatever happens here. We don't know who's going to be next, so we may have somebody else up here we weren't expecting. So we'll wait for that. We hope you'll stay tuned here on the New River Network from Kegler's here in Morgantown. It's the Band of Brothers book signing after party, I guess they call it. Mm-hmm. And it has turned into quite a party and a celebration. It's been a lot of fun. Stay with us. We shall return after these brief messages. remember the faces. Welcome back to the New River Network's coverage of the after party of Frank Fear's book signing, The Band of Brothers. Then and now, it's been a huge success. This book already is off to a great start. I want to recommend to everybody that get it. It's a great story, great stories, I should say, from all these guys who played back then, and it's been a pleasure for us to get to know them and get to see them. And it's brought us to places like this where we get to meet all kinds of cool people, and we got a cool people here with us. Mr. Dale Sparks, who is the contract photographer, I think you said, from 2001 for WVU Sports. You've covered football, basketball for 40 years, everything up here for 40 years. I know anybody that's a Mountaineer fan, you've seen his name on some pictures and that sort of thing, and you've heard about him. I've even heard Tony Creedy mention him a few times, I think, and but he's been kind enough to join us tonight. And everybody keeps telling me, man, he's got some stories. So not to put you on the spot, but let's hear about how you got started and then how it's all evolved and what it's become.
Well, I've got stories. There's no question about that. But, you know, I grew up in Beckley, so I'm 10 or 12 years old, and I'm out in the fall in my backyard raking leaves. And back then we had these little transistor radios. So I'd take my transistor radio out there so I could listen to the Mountaineers.
Right.
And I'd listen to those Mountaineers, Jack Fleming making the call. Never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined what would transpire from there.
Right.
So I grew up and I got to know Jack Fleming. We were friends. But, you know, I started out, loved sports photography, worked in Beckley, worked there from 78 to 84, went to the Dominion Post in 84 through 2001. And I was talking to our deputy athletic director one day in the summer of 2001 and said, you know, you ought to really make me your full-time sports photographer over there. And he goes, that's interesting. So it took us a few months to work things out, and that's what started. But, you know, we go all the way back. We've got Darryl Talley here.
Yeah.
And we go all the way back to my very first game at Virginia Tech. 1982, Darryl was still playing. Now, I can't find those negatives. I don't know where they are. But if I ever find them, I know I'll have some of Darryl. That was my first game at Virginia Tech, drove down from Beckley, and it was fantastic. And I was hooked because of two people changed my life and you know, just Mountaineer coverage forever. That was Don Nealon and Jeff Hostetler. The day they went out to Oklahoma on that opening day in 1982 and beat the Sooners, that set the state on fire for football.
Yes, it did.
Before that, I mean, it was just kind of, I mean, it was, at best, there was excitement, but nothing more.
Right.
That really set the state on fire, and I was the chief photographer in Beckley. So I went to our guys down there, the managing editor, and said, you know, we need to start covering these games.
Yeah.
And so they sent me to that first game at Virginia Tech, and then that was the 82 season, and then by the 83 season, I'd convinced them we needed to go cover all the home games.
Right.
So we did, and I'd drive up from Beckley the night before, shoot. All the games were back then were at noon.
Right, noon. Yep.
So
at 19 was a 2-lane road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I would shoot the first half of each game.
Yeah.
And then hop in my car and drive back to Beckley because we had deadlines.
Right,
we had film. We had to process it.
Right.
Process, print, do all that stuff, get it all done so we could hit the Sunday paper. I never shot a full game until 1984. And by that time, I'd moved up here. My reputation as a sports photographer, I'd won a lot of awards and stuff, and I just loved it. That's why it was fun and easy for me. They brought me up here to shoot sports for them. And you know, as they say, the rest is history. But man, you know, you think about it, since 82, 83, we've seen a lot of really good moments. We've seen a lot of bad too, but you know, the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah, I've said, you know, when you look at our good and you look at people like Darryl Talley, you realize, you know, what's come out of here over the years. Our good has been super good. I mean, you talk about Major Harris, and then on up with Pat White and Steve Slayton and people like Darryl Talley and Brian Joswiak. I mean, the good that we've had has been awful daggone good. You know,
there's been a lot of good people.
Oh God,
period. There's hardly been any bad people. There have been a few bad moments here,
right? Yeah,
but we won't talk about that Pitt game in 2000.
Right?
No, I don't even remember that. I don't even remember
I'm
that
going to
day.
tell you that's the only
That day don't
time,
exist.
That's the only time I've spent 40 years on the field. That's the only time I ever felt like I was actually going to throw up on the field. Get sick right there.
We have a mutual friend, he and I, a good friend, who lives up that way, and he's a Pitt man. And you know, I was telling somebody this other night, we razz him pretty hard, especially lately with Pitt being as bad as they've been for the last 10 years or 20 or whatever. I mean, it's been. The only thing he ever says back, the only comeback he has, he says 13-9. And it just crushes my soul every time he does it. I'm like,
it was
nothing
awful.
I can say.
It was,
nothing I can say.
It was the worst feeling ever.
Horrible. But, you know, just like I say about people that, you know, like lose the big game, the national championship, hey, you know, you got to look at everything around that was awesome. You know, so you can't let that really, I mean, I know it wrecked our chance to maybe win a national championship, but if you look at what was going on around all that, that was a fantastic time to be a fan. I'll tell you what, we were awesome.
When Rich Rodriguez was the coach, I mean, I was very embedded with the team.
Right.
Was there all the time, and so we never thought we'd lose a game.
Oh no!
Every time we went out there to play, we knew we were winning.
Right. Yeah.
And that was just the feeling. And the same thing was with Coach Stewart when he took over. We just never thought we'd lose.
Right.
And there were some great, I mean, you know, you go back and look at 41 years of football, there were some really great moments.
Yeah.
And, you know, Major Harris is the play.
Well, which I was sitting there in the stadium watching it. But anyway, I tell somebody the other day, you know, we had the same feeling in '88 as we did during the Pat White, Steve Slayton years. When we had the ball, we didn't think about, are we going to get a first down? We knew we was going to get first downs. We just wondered how long it was going to take us to score, you know?
Exactly.
And we never thought we were going to lose. The same way with Major Harris. You knew Major Harris could get a first down no matter. And speaking of that, I want to tell him this story. I had Major Harris on a radio show I did a few years back, and I told him, I said, this has been nagging at me my entire life since I saw it. But I was out at the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas, and I said, we score, we're down 1. Coach Neal decides to go for the win, which he should have. We go for 2. And I said, Major, if I were the coach, this is what play I would have called when I called you guys to the sidelines. All right, we need a 2-point conversion. Major, you're going to get the snap. Take care of it for us. That's all I'd have called right there. He's like, well, we had a good play called. I just threw a bad pass. And I'm thinking, all right, I'll accept that. I'll try to get over it at this point. But I don't think I ever will get over that because we had Major Harris back there. Just let him go get the 2-point conversion. So anyway.
Yeah, he can do just about anything.
Gosh, he was unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable.
And that reminds me of Major's, of that play, the play.
Yeah.
When he, on the busted play, when he turned the wrong way, the running back went to the left, he turned to the right, and there's 4 big Penn State guys staring at him, and he zigs and zags and jukes them all out. Nobody even touched him.
No.
Nobody touched him. And he goes, I got this from Don Nealon, so he goes back to the huddle, and he looks at Coach, and he goes, sorry, Coach, I ran the wrong way. And Don looks at him and says, Mage, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, he was pretty phenomenal. But again, you know, we've had a lot of moments like that, a lot of players not like Major, but you know what I mean, the same level of excitement and knowing that you're going to win, you're going to get first downs. And I don't think, I think there's a lot of people that would trade places with us if they could have the success that we've had here. I just really believe that because even in our bad times, we're pretty good, I mean, now, modern history, it seems it's a little different, but I think it's because we have different types of players and all that. One of the players told me the other night that one thing that they had was the reputation of just being a hard-nosed bunch of football players, and no matter how many games they won, the other team always knew they were involved in a game. I just saw Deion Sanders dancing at the.
I was wondering what she was watching.
Yeah, their spring game. So I said that kind of exemplifies what football has become. It's a little different what it used to be. Can you imagine Coach Nealon out there with a cowboy hat on?
No.
The jig? I doubt it.
No, don't want to see that.
This must have been. I mean, it's got to have been a great ride for you, man, to cover all this stuff and been here for all this.
I've been blessed. I
it's
really
got to
have
been a
been
great
blessed.
ride.
It's just amazing the things that I have got to experience and see, and all the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it all, but I appreciate it all. And I was, I was blessed to be in the situation that I've been in. You just can't. It's been a great ride, regardless. And I will cherish that forever. So
that's awesome.
We've got, you got the moment of major,
right.
But then you've got a moment with Bill Stewart. I'll never forget the moment. We're in the locker room. There's three of us media guys in the locker room before that game, and he gives that "Leave No Doubt" speech.
Yep. Thank goodness we got it.
And I'll tell you, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it.
Yeah.
But he gives that "Leave No Doubt" speech, and the three of us, there were two video guys and myself, so I'm in there photographing him walking around, and we get together and we talk and we go, wow, what a speech, what a speech. We're ready to go out and play. We want to go play for him.
Yeah.
And what we realized at the moment was that it was a great, great motivational speech, but what we didn't realize was that it would be his legacy.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
And when I watched that stinking video on YouTube.
Oh, you can still watch it.
Yeah,
I mean, just think when they played it over the board during the game, It's crazy.
I mean, those are the moments that you cherish the most, the time with. I mean, there was a time I sat on the bus. We were at a practice at one of the 14,000 Gator Bowls we played in. We're sitting on the bus riding back from practice with Coach Stu, and he's just so excited about a recruit that we just got. And I was sitting beside him, and he goes, "Oh, this kid's going to bring the wood. He's going to lay the wood to these guys." I don't even know what recruit it was, but he was just so darn excited. And, so the people have been, and the players. I mean, my goodness, I've got relationships and friendships with these players over the years that are priceless.
Yeah, I bet. And I want to, before you leave, I want to get your contact info, because we do this show every Thursday, and I think it would be super fun just to get you on, just to throw some names at you and let you tell us some stories for a whole hour. I think that would be awesome.
We could do that.
Yep, I think that'd be awesome. We'll definitely do that before we leave. Thank you so much for taking a minute to talk to us. We've really enjoyed it. It's been a great event here. I know you're with Daryl back here. It's been so much fun, and we appreciate you being a part of it and talking to us a little bit. Like I said, we want to get you back on here some more stories for sure.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Dale Sparks, the photographer up here. Are you still
still shooting.
I mean, I know you still do you said you were contracted there with since 2001, but still doing it and still loving it, I guess.
Oh yeah, I love every day.
Guarantee. All right, thank you, Mr. Sparks. We appreciate you again taking the time to join us. We're going to take us a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking here in a little bit to Frank Fear. I don't know if Ken Juskowitz is trying to leave on us. We're going to try to get him on before we wrap things up here from Kegler's here in Morgantown. Again, if you're familiar with WVU Morgantown, you're familiar with Kegler's. Everybody knows where Kegler's is, and they've been so kind and gracious to us to let us come in and do the show. Gordon, now that I'm working up here, I eat lunch here at least once a week, man. I'm away for
brag about, please.
All right, we'll get us a quick break in. We'll come right back here in just a minute. Stay with us. Thank you so much. welcome back to the New River Network's coverage of the after party of the book signing and the celebration for the Band of Brothers, written by this gentleman sitting here right beside me, Mr. Frank Fear. Frank, this has been we've had a blast in here today. A lot of folks in and out all day long. We've talked to a bunch of them. And, of course, we saved the best till last, and we wanted to get you up here just for a minute, talk a little bit about the book and what all this has meant to you. I'm sure that this has been a whirlwind week for you, and with the book getting out there and starting to make waves, it's been pretty exciting, I'm sure.
Well, I'll tell you, certainly.
Let me flip you on there. There we go.
Now we're
there. You go. Yes,
we're business now.
You know, to be part of this with you and Dave and everybody here has just been. It's been meaningful to me, and you know, I watched the entire show. It's been great to see all these characters. I'm worried if there's going to be a class action suit, to tell you the truth. But and it's so great to have my son Frank Jr.
Absolutely
part of this, and wife Kathy is watching, and other relatives, and really appreciate that. You know, I think if there's a message that I think has come from this experience is that a lot of people across this great state care about the people who represented West Virginia University and played, and I just can't believe the response has been overwhelming. And I think it's reflected in the sales of the book, which far exceeds our wildest expectations. And thank the two of you for just I've said this before, being part of this project and making it possible.
Well, and I've said this to you and on the air numerous times that the pleasure has definitely been ours.
Gosh,
we've got to meet all these guys, not only from that era, but it's led to us meeting a lot of other folks and getting to talk to them, just having a great time. This was a blast up here today, and we're just thankful to get the opportunity. And we've talked about this, how important I think it is, and Dave thinks it is, to keep these legacies alive and to keep this history alive. And what you've done with this book is. It's just fantastic in that not only Mountaineer history, but history in itself, and the fact that it's not necessarily a football book, if you will, as much as it is a life story and many life stories, and just about good people and the coaches, the players, just how good of people they are and were, and that's what's important. And I want to reiterate that it's not a football book per se. You know what I mean? Obviously focuses on football teams and era and that sort of thing, but it's a life story from these folks, and it's been so interesting. I've told a lot of people when I first got started, and you sent me those recordings of those interviews that you did, I was hooked right there. I'm like, my God, I got to talk to these people, man. This is awesome. And so we thank you, and we thank them. Great sports, too. They've taken us in just like we're one of them, and it's been fun. You have to be pleased with the reaction to this and all this that's taken place. And even today, I know it's winding down now, but this place was absolutely packed from 3 o'clock until just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I know you have to be pleased with the reaction to it.
Oh, absolutely. And I've said this the other night on the program, and that is, people have so many people have wanted to be part of this project and make it successful. Yeah, this place has just been rocking tonight, and it's been very meaningful, as I said earlier. And the other thing is that we already have invitations to do other book signings in the future.
Yep.
2 of them, Barnes and Noble. I think we're going to be back for the pit game for sure. And there are Mountaineer alums had organized in the Northern Panhandle, and before the pit game, we may be up there for a regional meeting before the pit game, as I mentioned. So it's we'll keep this going.
Yeah, heck yeah. And I also wanted to mention to you, this might be an idea for you to take into the future. A couple of the players from a different era have mentioned that Frank Fear needs to be writing more books, and I said, well, he may be willing to do that. I don't know, but I think Joe Zwiak mentioned the fact that he would like to have that era covered as well.
Yeah, I think one of the other at least takeaways for me is that let's face it, winning is important. There's no question. Right. You gotta, when teams take the field, you want them to win, and the fans expect to win. But there's a lot more to college football, and why it really tugs at the hearts of people, and it's the stories, and you've talked about this, both of you. It's the stories about the team, the interactions among the teammates and with the coaches. Those are the stories that I think people remember, and also the backstories of these tremendous wins, but also these excruciating losses. I was mentioning Hoppy Kirkerval yesterday about that Pitt loss in 1970, and it continues to reverberate all these years later. But also the tremendous wins, like the Peach Bowl win of '69. It doesn't go away, and there are stories behind that. So to work on stories of other eras with colleagues, and they become friends.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a very meaningful thing.
Yep, sure is. And again, I think you're keeping this legacy and going, and I think this is such important work. Not from a personal getting to meet people and that sort of thing, but I just think it's so important to keep this history alive. And every era, and we talked about this with somebody earlier. Every era has had their great moments, and the one thing that I think you recognize here is our great players, great moments are a lot greater than most places are fortunate to have. And we saw that tonight with Darryl Talley, Brian Joswiak. These guys are all Americans, future Hall of Famer. So we've had some fantastic moments and fantastic people. We're not going to talk about the Pitt game. We've already talked about that once, and I can't talk about that anymore.
Yeah, no more.
I'm done with that. No more. No more. I don't want to hear any more about it. But it's just it's amazing history. This is part of that amazing history, and this is what seals it. I mean, I taught history for 30 years. You got to have it. You got to have it written down. You got to know about it. People have to read it and see it. And I think what you've done here is fantastic, and we're so glad to be a part of it. Yeah, really are.
Thank you. And one of the things that I feel very strongly about, and it's impossible to communicate this to people who have not had a West Virginia experience.
Right.
There are a lot of states, obviously. There are a lot of athletic programs.
Yep.
There are a lot of places like Morgantown everywhere.
Right.
But, and I've been around the block more than once, there's just something about this place.
Yep, something special.
That it is just, it just never leaves you.
Yep.
And actually, that's the way the book starts. This notion that you can leave a place, but it doesn't leave you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then when it happens to a variety of people, then it's once upon a time forever. It just never leaves.
Right.
And that's not saying it doesn't happen in other places.
Right.
But there, as I said, I've been around a lot. It just this has just been a blessing because it reverberates and it stays with you.
Yeah, and it's not. It happens at other places. It doesn't happen here. It just is here.
Yeah,
and it's everywhere.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it's just that's just the way it is.
It's the way it is.
And I know we even talked to Brian Joswiak mentioned the exact same thing. He said, even today, he said when a person comes here and they get around the people, he said, a lot of places like Morgantown, but he said when you get around the people and you get here and you see the brotherhood and the togetherness, you're hooked. And he said you're a part of it, and that's it. And he said I don't think too many places have that, and I think he's right. I think you're right as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's the word, brotherhood. That's absolutely the word.
And I've also said numerous times, you have the title of this book is perfect, I think, and I think it tells the story right there. And like I said, people just need to look at it, read it, and hear these stories. These guys are fascinating. They really are. And I know you've had as much fun with them as I have. I mean, they're a blast, and they're so fun. Oh, they don't stop, and they're just fun. Just fun. Good people. You can tell. Frank, I appreciate it so much. I appreciate the invitation to these two events. It's been phenomenal for us. We've had a blast, and we've thoroughly enjoyed it. And anything we can do, we will keep plugging this thing all along. Anything we can do to help this, please let us know. We appreciate you more than you know.
Well, thank you. Thank you, too. It's been an honor.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, the honor and the pleasure has been all ours. All right, that's going to do it. The Mountaineers are rallying in the baseball game. I see they got them a home run, and the place going crazy. So that's what you're hearing the cheers. They're not for me. They're for the baseball team. But anyway, we appreciate everybody tuning in to this great event today. It's been fantastic. It's been fun. It's been interesting. And we appreciate Frank and everyone else involved for letting us be a part of it. Dave, it's been a blast, man.
Oh my gosh, great day, great day.
And we got our portraits drawn.
Yeah, I know. How about that?
So we'll put that up. I don't know if Darren can see that or not, but we'll hold that up and let him see we had those drawings. Mr. Ben was doing these drawings for us back there while we were on the air. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you get you a copy of the book. You can just go on Google, and I think you said the sports column is what you Google, the sports column, and then you can buy your book right from there. Make sure you get it in. It's going fast. It's selling like crazy already, and it's probably going to continue to do so for a while. And it's well worth the get, I guarantee you. So we appreciate all of the people involved. We appreciate the invitation to be a part of it. We appreciate Keglers for letting us come in and take up some of their space and enjoy some of their cuisine and their drinks. It's been a lot of fun. We appreciate you for joining us, and we bid you a farewell and have a great rest of your weekend. Good night, everybody.